You ever see someone so entitled, so shameless, you think, nah, nobody's really like that in real life, right? Well, pull up a chair because this story's about the time my HOA president parked her sparkling white SUV smack dab in the handicapped spot at Walmart, strutted inside like she owned the whole county, and ended up getting her car towed away, right there in front of God and everybody. And buddy, that was just the start. Let me set the scene. Trenton County, New Jersey, July. You know, the kind of heat that makes the air shimmer above the pavement? That's what we're talking about. You could fry an egg on the hood of my pickup. My name's Frank Castle, and that morning I was just a worn-out vet trying to grab a few things for a barbecue. Charcoal, steaks, Linda's favorite potato salad. Simple stuff. Only problem? Walmart parking lot's a battlefield. I'd circled twice already, my knee throbbing in time with the truck's engine. Vietnam shrapnel, still a souvenir after all these years. All I wanted was a spot up close, maybe 10 fewer steps to limp through. And there was just ahead, the perfect spot, painted in that bright, hopeful blue. The handicapped spot. Except, just as I was about to swing in, here comes this big, blindingly white SUV, barreling in like a rhino on roller skates. I didn't even need to check the plates. That was Karen Jameson. Everybody in Trenton Hills, HOA knows that vehicle, mostly because she parks it wherever the hell she wants. Karen, the queen of the Homeowners Association. The same woman who once fined old Mrs. Gable down the street because her garden gnome was, and I quote, aesthetically displeasing. She treated the HOA bylaws like they were scripture, and she was the only prophet allowed to interpret them. Watching her step out, perfect tennis whites, hair pulled back so tight I thought she was trying to raise her own eyebrows. I just sat there for a minute, jaw clenched. She wasn't limping, didn't even fake it. No cane, no badge, no blue placard on the mirror. She just snatched her designer purse, scanned the parking lot like a drill sergeant, and waltzed right in, leaving that SUV planted right in a spot that guys like my old man used to need just to buy groceries. Now, a little voice in my head, call it tired, call it desperate for cold beer, said, "Let it go, Frank. Not your circus, not your monkeys." But there's another voice in there, the one that spent 20 years in uniform, the one that knows blue paint isn't just a suggestion. That's a promise. It means something to a lot of folks who fought harder for less. Linda always said I've got a problem with bullies. I looked at that SUV and I thought, peace or doing what's right. Some choices just haunt you. So I snapped a photo. Her car, the blue lines, empty windshield. Then I called the non-emergency police line. Told them where, told them what. Even spelled out the plates, polite matter of fact. Dispatcher said they'd send someone when they could. I figured, I'll be here a while, so I settled back, eyes closed, listening to the sounds of shopping carts and a whole lot of sunburn. 15 minutes later, a patrol car rolls up, Officer Daniels, young but sharp. He takes one look, does a slow lap around Karen's land yacht, checks the mirror, pulls out his ticket book. Soon enough, a small crowd's gathering, phones out, whispering like they're waiting for a flash mob. Daniels writes up the ticket, tucks it under her wiper, and radios in for a tow. That's when the fun really started. Cue Karen, marching out of Walmart, cart loaded with bottled water and more organic kale than any normal person needs. She sees the ticket, and you'd think someone had just shot her dog. She rips it off, storms over to Daniels, and unleashes the banshee. "What is the meaning of this?" she screeches, waving the ticket in his face. "I'm the president of the HOA. I have important things to do." Daniels doesn't even blink. "Ma'am, you're illegally parked. State law. No placard, no parking." He explains ADA, the whole 9 yards, cool as a cucumber. Karen sputters. "It was just a minute. Do you know who I am?" Daniels just shrugs. "I know you're getting towed." The crowd's loving it now, filming, whispering, eating it up. Right on cue. Tow truck rumbles up, lights flashing. The driver, a big guy with a beard and a face like he's seen it all, starts hooking up Karen's SUV. The sound of the winch and the chains is just pure music. Karen's losing her mind, threatening to call the mayor, the chief, swearing vengeance. Daniels leans against his car, looking bored. And that's when she catches my eye. She knows. Oh, she knows it was me. And I don't even bother to hide my grin. Her SUV lifts off the blue paint, and I can't help it. It's my wife's ramp, not your runway. The crowd lets out a low "oh," and I finally head inside, feeling lighter than I have in months. But if you think that's where the story ends, you haven't tangled with a real HOA tyrant. The very next day, the digital backlash starts. Linda's scrolling the neighborhood page, and there it is, a wild tale from Karen herself. She paints herself as the victim of a deranged stalker. Me, obviously. Says I harassed her, tricked the cops, ruined her day. My picture, blurry but unmistakable, right there for the mob. Within hours, the comments explode, half the neighbors clutching pearls, the other half quietly cheering. I figure, okay, let her blow off steam. It'll die down. Nope. First, a violation notice taped to my door. My mailbox, suddenly after 10 years, the wrong shade of black. $50 fine. Next, the grass, quarter-inch too high. Another fine. Garbage cans out 55 minutes past cutoff. Another. Karen turns passive-aggressive into an Olympic sport. Death by 1,000 paper cuts. And every violation is just plausible enough to be legal. But I'm not the quitting type. Linda keeps me sane. She pulls each notice off the door, reads it, and says, "Frank, at least she's creative. Our rose bush has aggressive tendencies now." My cousin Andrew, the family lawyer, tells me to document everything. People like that always overplay their hand. Be patient. Get evidence. He's right, of course. One night, after a particularly bad day, there's a sharp knock on the door just after midnight. No one there, just another thick envelope taped up, official as can be. Inside, a threat to put a lien on my house for unpaid fines and hostile behavior. Pure fiction. Blackmail, plain and simple. That's when I realized enough was enough. Threatening my house. That's a line you don't cross. And just as I'm staring at this fake legal threat, who shows up at my door but Officer Daniels, in uniform. "Heard you've been getting some interesting notices," he says, and sits at my kitchen table like we're old friends. Turns out, Daniels isn't just any beat cop. He's on a task force investigating disability fraud. There's been a flood of fake Handicapped placards in Trenton County, all tracing back to our very own HOA. They need someone on the inside, someone with a reason to care. And apparently, that's me. I don't want the job. I'm tired. I want peace. But Daniels reminds me, Karen's making life hell not just for me, but for every disabled vet, every person who actually needs those spots. So I agree. Document, document, document. Turns out, the HOA's been cranking out fake placards like party favors, using club funds, selling them to anyone who doesn't feel like walking. The operations run right out of our own neighborhood clubhouse. The printer logs, the templates, the whole setup. Daniels has evidence, but he needs more. Meanwhile, the campaign of petty terror ramps up. We start finding things, a dead bird on the porch, a greasy smudge on Linda's car door. Then one morning, my old pickup truck's front tire is slashed, clean through. I check the cameras. Sure enough, there's a shadowy figure in a hoodie, face hidden, but as they turn, I catch the HOA logo patch on their sleeve. Finally, the break Daniels needs. He ups the surveillance, gets warrants lined up, and then, here's the twist, he asks for my help running a sting operation. See, the annual HOA Donor Appreciation Night is coming up. Karen can't resist showing off to the big spenders. So Daniels sends a Detective Miller, undercover as a rich widow who needs a handicapped spot for her mother, and would be ever so grateful for a little help. That night, Linda and I play our parts, her charming the board, me boring the vice president to death by the shrimp cocktail. Miller, meanwhile, reels Karen in. There's a thick white envelope, a casual offer of a $5,000 donation. Karen bites. She leads Miller to her office, promises a fake placard delivered within a week. No doctor's note required. That's all Daniels needs. Warrants fly. Police swarm the place. As Karen tries to bolt for her SUV, duffel bag of fake placards swinging over her shoulder, she's cornered by Daniels and half the Trenton County PD. The bag bursts, placards and marked bills scatter across the garage floor. In front of half the neighborhood, Karen Jameson is cuffed and read her rights, her face sheet white. And right there, with the blue and red lights flickering off the clubhouse walls, justice isn't just served, it's practically catered. After that, well, The whole house of cards collapsed. The news had a field day. Karen's customers, everybody with a fake placard, got tickets, fines, and tows. The HOA board resigned in disgrace. County supervisors launched a full ADA audit. New ramps, new signage, actual accessibility improvements, all paid for by what was left of the HOA coffers. For the first time, the blue paint in our lots meant something again. Linda and I became, weirdly, minor celebrities. People stopped us at the grocery store, shook my hand, thanked us for standing up. We joined the interim HOA committee, used the leftover funds to fix up the neighborhood, make it better for everyone. And, let me tell you, repainting those handicapped spots felt better than any parade. And you know what? The best part wasn't even Karen going to trial. Though, believe me, watching her squirm on the witness stand as her own rules trapped her was chef's kiss. The Real win was quieter. Watching a woman help her son down a brand new ramp. An old man parked close enough to the pharmacy to make it inside without help. That's what those blue spots are for. That's what justice looks like. Karen got 5 years probation, 2,000 hours of community service, and her name became a punchline. The HOA? Dissolved, replaced by a simple neighborhood watch and a fund for things that actually matter, like picnics, not power trips. The fear was gone, replaced by laughter and actual, honest-to-God neighborliness. And here's what I finally learned, the lesson that snuck up on me somewhere between the midnight knocks and the roar of that leaf blower. Sometimes the fight for justice is the road to peace. Sometimes you have to rattle the cage to make the world a little fairer, a little kinder. If that means calling the tow truck twice, so be it. So now, when I pass by that blue spot at Walmart and see it waiting for someone who needs it, I smile. Justice got its day. Peace got its shot. And Karen? Well, karma never needs a parking pass. But let me throw this back at you. Where do you draw the line? When does standing up for what's right become going too far? Would you have done what I did? Or just let it go? Tell me down in the comments, because maybe, just maybe, we could all use a little more justice and a little less Karen.